Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Youngstown's Talk Channel. I am Isaac. Luke just got up and left, as usual. Luke's going to be sitting right here. We are the MLO Bros. We are down here live in Youngstown, Ohio, Youngstown studio. Today on Youngstown's Talk Channel, we are talking with Aaron Young from Mill Creek MetroParks. He's here with us today. Sir, what's your position exactly?
I'm the executive director.
Executive director of Mill Creek. And this show, our objective is basically to give you a replacement for live talk shows held in Youngstown, Ohio. We think that's going away. We think Youngstown radio is going away. That's the future. So we're trying to fill that void for you. You come into work 8 a.m., listen to us, turn on Youngstown Talk Channel. We'll carry you till 5 p.m. till you go home at night. So call in. Lines are open, 330-595-1600. And away we go. Aaron, what's going on, buddy?
I'm good, man. Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me in. It's been a while, right? Last time I was in, we were in your basement in Poland. So
we were in the basement office. We have definitely let Joe take the reins in control of like the studio because we have no idea what we're
How
doing.
nervous does this make you that I have water right
Well
by this
done.
time?
Joe's freaking out because Luke brought over the soda stream.
Look at me. Look at him. He's so nervous.
I got right next to all the wires.
Don't worry.
Hey, Aaron, I haven't seen you since high school.
Yeah. I think those are the rumors we need. Let's just
dude, how's the wife? How's the kids? I mean, thanks for inviting me to your barbecue. You're like the godfather of his child.
Dude, Lucas is doing good. He misses you. Can't wait to see you at the next baseball game he has.
So before we went live, we were talking about how Aaron said, Aaron, what did you say? Say that again. There are people who are nervous and there are people who are
two
excited.
groups of people today
Okay.
here in the Valley. There's a group who is like, yeah, man, you need to go on there and you need to just tell the truth, tell it like it is, and address the lies. The other group is so afraid that I'm going to do that. They're tuning in today thinking this is going to be a car wreck, and they're getting damage control already ready.
Is that people at Mill Creek Park that are like
Probably a little bit of both. I mean, we will talk about what the community engagement team is thinking right now. Although I will say the majority of the leadership team at the park is like, look, man, we can't keep taking unadvised shots. Just go in and play defense and do what you got.
I mean, at some point you have to get ahead of it, and I understand. There's two points. Like, obviously, we were very outspoken, and it's like we are the ones that it's like you have to get ahead of this, and not even ahead at this point. It's been so long. It's like just blow to blow with some of these people that are and who we're talking about is the STD people, as I like to call them, the Save the Deer people. I mean, those are the biggest pain in the asses you've ever experienced. I can only imagine.
But like we were talking about before, like Aaron said, these two guys
never met them
before we started doing this podcast.
Never met.
And before that happened, the deer calling like was planned out. They didn't know each other. Luke and Aaron did not
never
know
met
each other.
Before.
Like totally don't know each other.
No.
We had them on the podcast because Luke found it interesting and Luke took a side, and that's all it is. Like you do not associate. You don't go golfing on weekends.
No,
you don't go out to
the
eat.
godfather of my children.
We don't know his favorite food, his favorite color. We're not friends with it.
Right.
I mean, we're friends with him because he's come on the show, but like we don't.
Hold on, Joe. You block that guy, please. Yeah. That's okay. That's tool bag.
I don't know.
No, it's
But so yeah, from there, then the STD, the Save the Deer people.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Luke.
So I am very outspoken about the deer thing because I'm a hunter, right? And it's not even that I wanted you guys to go kill a bunch of freaking deer.
Sure.
It is just the fact that I understand deer management. I understand if you don't hunt deer, it's going to run wild. In literally 2 years, if you didn't have hunting, there would be absolute devastation. And nobody understands that.
Right.
And then you get these freaking crazy people that don't understand that feed these deer, that call them names, that pet them, that are consider them like pets. And it's insane. It is absolutely insane to me that these people are like this.
Right.
And I started really taking offense to the STD people when they started attacking employees of the park. And we're saying calling and accosting. I know they've gone after you guys at meetings and this, that, and the other. I've actually had people call me and say, why don't you and your brother go? And I'm like, if we go, we're going to end up in jail is what it would end up happening because they're going to say something to us and it's going to freaking escalate to the point where everybody gets arrested. So that has always been my park. I love the park. It is an absolute gem of Youngstown, Ohio. It needs to be protected. It needs to be advertised more. It needs to be absolutely just, cherished. And I think not doing the deer control is going to destroy that.
Right.
That's it. I mean, that's my take on it. So,
Aaron, what do you have to say? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you hit a bunch of topics there. That
I unloaded.
To whatever you want to do. That most importantly, that's how we met.
Yeah.
Just hey, there was a deer issue going on, but Mill Creek MetroParks is so much more than just Mill Creek Park.
Right.
Keep in mind that's one of 14 locations throughout the county.
Yeah, right.
But let's face it, it's the flagship location.
100%.
So that dominates a lot of the conversation.
Because we're talking about the other parks.
Right.
Canfield Bike Trail.
Correct.
I go there with my dog. Go there with my dog all the time.
What's it called?
Preserve.
Mm-hmm. And
there's one out in South Range too. There's one out on
New Middletown. New Middletown. We went fishing. We went fishing off the fishing pier in the one in New Middletown and caught a giant bass.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we did just do some restocking. So if you're into fishing
at that lake,
variety of lakes.
Really?
Yeah, over 2,200 fish.
Don't tell my children.
Yeah, so they'd like to see that. But to follow up on that topic was just making sure that we wanted to put out there part of what the message was, and that was our first meeting with the deer management and all of that.
Yeah.
And I think to your guys' credit, you were able to understand that concept.
Right.
There are some people who just don't want to understand it, and we're never going to reach them. And yes, some of them still attend meetings now. And wow, I mean, let's be honest, they act a fool. I mean, they're there to create a problem.
Yeah.
And they still go all the time.
Oh yeah. They got signs. They've got, we're going on 2.5 years now. I mean, it's what bothers the MetroParks is they'll then take whatever issue they might be on the other side of. And because they can't narrowly debate and win that issue.
Right.
Now they're not being transparent. They're hiding. And that's what gains attention.
Right.
Especially if you're a governmental entity, which is
well, we had McNally on last week, and I know you were interested in that one where she said the park, she's called the park or emailed the park, whatever it was, and you guys never responded.
Correct.
Would you like to comment on
that? Yes.
You can see him. He's been waiting a week.
Go ahead, sir.
Let me don't hold this anymore.
Set the pins.
Set the stage first of in 100% transparency. The MetroParks, we attempt to stay apolitical.
Right.
Politicians come and go. People get elected, every 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Every 4 years, we are out of politics. We don't get involved in any of that. We don't function that way. Joe will know this. Our phone system is an internet-based phone system.
Okay.
If you attempt to reach us, we can prove it. So, for all of you out there listening,
you never
don't attempt to say you contacted us because we'll be able to prove that you did or you didn't.
Right. Ooh. Okay.
So be very careful with your attempts at saying you've reached out.
Right.
Now, when I say reached out, I'm not a hard man to find.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just not a hard guy to contact. You can call me, you can email me, you can do whatever you've got to do. I have not had a single conversation with Lauren McNally.
Okay. What about
not one?
DeFabio.
Not a single conversation with DeFabio.
No, really, never called you.
Single attempt to contact me.
Really? There guys go. Call him.
Here's the other caveat. You call my direct line.
Yeah.
702-3000-113.
Okay.
If I'm not there to answer, you leave a message. That message is voice recorded and emailed to me, which can be proven.
Right.
Do not say you attempt to reach me.
Okay. There you go.
Now, second of all, yesterday I was at Good Morning Mahoning County. Wonderful event put on by the chamber.
Okay.
I sat at the table right next to two of the county commissioners. They didn't say hello. They didn't acknowledge we were even sitting there.
Did they know who you were? You think?
Do you think?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they don't know your face.
We think so. So look, the lines of communication are open with the MetroParks. The only promise we ever made anyone was honesty, and what you do with it and how you let it make you feel is up to you.
Okay. Now we have a call. We're going to take it, and Aaron doesn't really want. We will talk. Go ahead.
Go ahead, caller, you're on the line. Go ahead,
caller. Hello, caller. Caller's on the line. Hello. Hey, caller.
I don't hear the.
Hey, caller. What's going on?
I wonder if people at home.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say before we keep going here, for those watching at home, here's an example of something where a politician came on the show, sat in this chair next to Luke. I wasn't here. And she said one thing. And I kind of am putting her on blast here, but said one thing. And now we have a direct another guest coming in here and saying that this politician said one thing that's not true. They never reached out. Just keep track of that is all I'm saying. Keep track of the politicians that say they're doing something and then they're not. Because what else are they hiding? That's my question. I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. Just be people of your word.
So like Lauren was really nice. You weren't here. She was super nice.
I'm sure she was nice. I'm sure she seemed great. I listened to her.
Yeah,
she seemed great.
What kind of, and I saved the deer stuff till the end, obviously. Well, the park stuff till the end. And what alarmed me with what she said were issues with the park. Now, she said lack of communication.
Sure.
She said transparency.
Well,
she then went in.
The topic you were calling about after the tone. Then press the pound key. Mike Creekella.
And then she went into trees falling down. And then she went into the deer. And then she went into, what was the other one she said? And it is literally a check mark of everything the STD people, when they can't beat you at the deer stuff, they go the trees not getting cleaned out. It was all a checklist. And she goes, well, these are from all different people. I'm like, and I literally said to her on the thing, I'm like, Lauren, no, it's not. Those are the same exact people saying the same exact thing.
Right. I think the takeaway that I had from a listener standpoint was there's an opportunity here to educate people on how the park district functions.
Right.
Because what I heard was not even close to how it functions.
Okay. Right.
Ohio Revised Code, as written, gives the authority to the local probate judge to appoint MetroParks commissioners. That is MetroParks system wide throughout the state. So the local elected probate judge appoints a group.
Right.
Here locally, that's Judge Rusu. Judge Rusu employs a citizens advisory type committee to help vet board members.
Okay.
So you want to be a board member, you apply, your application goes into his selection committee. They kind of review it, do a background, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
Speak with you.
Yeah.
Make recommendations to the judge. He makes the appointment.
Right.
So there's five members. They serve 3-year terms.
5 members.
Five members serve 3-year terms.
5 members, 3-year terms.
One member, Jermaine Bennett, is a resident of Youngstown, represents Youngstown.
Okay.
Second member is Paul Olivier. He represents Boardman, lives in Boardman.
Okay.
Third member is Lee Fry, lives and represents Canfield.
Okay.
Fourth member, and these are in no particular order, obviously. Jeff Harvey lives and represents Green Township.
Nice.
And last but not least is Tom Frost, who is a township trustee in Jackson, lives in Jackson and represents North Jackson. So
cool. Which
I don't know how you can say people are not from here.
Yeah.
Talking about, I mean, it's just not the truth. And so that's really all I wanted.
We have a caller. Go ahead. We'll get right back to it. Go ahead, caller.
In reference to the deer people and McNally, Corona, and Fisher, have any of them ever attended a board meeting as a group or individually?
No.
There you go. Good point.
Okay, so they're trying to change the way the parks manage without having any real knowledge or facts. So they're nothing but political hacks trying to do this. Is that correct?
I love the way you think, caller. I love the way you think.
There's certainly a political element afoot.
Which is funny, though, which is why
it's going on at the Metro.
But that's why it's set up this way, is to avoid the politics.
That's correct.
And I get that.
Correct.
And they don't. All right, thanks, caller. That was fantastic.
If we're going to go down the political
we should talk about, if we're going to go down the political route, let's talk about what are the minimum qualifications for being an elected official. Do you know what they are?
18.
You have to be a registered voter.
Registered voter, 18.
And you got to live in the area that you're attempting to represent, right?
Yeah.
That is absolutely it.
That's amazing.
So let's not go talk about how elected officials are somehow now on the Mensa scale.
Right.
Yeah.
And the best and the brightest. Now, certainly some of them are. And I got, in full disclosure, I was a township trustee for 16 years.
Right.
Braceville Township,
Okay.
Oklahoma County. I'm more than educated
you
on
get it.
the political warfare that happens
Right.
in terms of how people do things. But there are good people out there, and I'm not here to attack any of them as people because I don't know
Right.
them. I mean,
Yeah.
they've never even talked to me, so I don't know them
Right.
as people. All I know is the message, and the message is, one, factually inaccurate, and two, it's going to do more harm than good to MetroParks.
What?
Can I say something real quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's really interesting to me in politics. There's one side of the political spectrum that always says trust the professionals, trust the licensed people, the doctors, trust in the people that know more than you. And in a lot of those topics, there's a lot of money involved, like COVID. There was a lot of money involved. And they're saying, hey, trust these professionals that I constantly argue with and say, hey, those professionals could be influenced by money, right? So I don't know what to believe. I don't know who to trust. In this scenario, I am going to be the opposite side and say, when it comes to the deer, when it comes to the parks, trust the professionals that are saying, hey, we have to call these deer. Trust the professionals in this manner. How much money is really influencing these decisions in terms of parks and in terms of culling deer? I would say very little, if not nothing.
Those deer people, they had theories that the park was paying ODNR all this money and they were getting kicked. Like it was just,
this is a scenario where I don't think there's a lot of money flowing through it and influencing decisions.
The issue with the safety,
trust the professionals.
It's so emotional.
Right.
They have no facts. They have no data to back it.
And they're making emotional decisions.
Correct.
Because they're attached to the deer.
They can't think.
And that's not what's best for
them,
society.
To them, it'd be like somebody coming to try and cull your dogs.
Yeah, that's not okay. But that's different.
But it's different.
They're not
It's
pets.
not
They're
pets.
wild animals.
Trust but verify, right?
Right.
That's elected officials always ask the voters to be educated when they go to the polls.
Right.
But
well, shouldn't that be reciprocal whenever you're writing bills?
Right.
Yeah.
If you're going to write a bill to change something, should you really know how it currently is before you make a proposal?
So they haven't called anybody, like you said. They haven't asked how it works. I wonder if they talked to Russo.
Well, obviously I wouldn't know.
Yeah, we would know that, right?
And you have to make sure that you're educated on what's going on there before you can go in and do a proposal. And one elected official should never discount the way the current law is, because guess what?
Yeah.
Somebody in their place is the one who approved it.
Right. Yes.
So at the time, an elected person approved that law, and that's
why
what
was it?
Now, you certainly have the right to disagree with it or agree with it, whatever you want as an individual. But let's not go and say, well, they didn't know what they were doing, because they're in the same position you're in. They're elected. The only comparison I'll make is to be an elected official is completely different than being an elected judge.
Yeah.
You're an elected judge and you went through law school.
Right.
You practiced law. Let's not compare local elected officials to local judges.
Well, that in their judging, like we've talked about this before, we don't think they should say if they're Republican or Democrat. You're judging on the laws.
Well, I mean, a judge is good enough to be standing in front of in a court of law to apply the law and be the appropriate party, but they're not good enough to appoint park board members.
Yeah, that's
you're out of your mind.
Right.
All right. Hold on. I got my chat GPT up for questions. You ready for this?
Yeah,
let's hear it.
Isaac, you ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it. What do you got?
I got all kinds
of stuff. I'm kind of nervous.
Oh, I want to save that one. I want to save that one because that one's a hot button topic. I'm going to go. Lack of public transparency.
Oh, that's total and utter baloney.
A log now.
That's the local. I'm gonna.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me give you. This is off of ChatGPT. Let me give you the little sub point that you got.
Sure.
Accusations that decisions are made behind closed doors with limited community input or engagement, especially on major spending and land acquisition.
That's the new weapons of mass destruction claim.
Okay, so that's a new one.
That's the new. Well, that's your traditional. If you can't win the argument, let's jump on transparency. Decisions made behind closed doors. Let's get the local.
Because we don't agree with your decision.
We don't agree with what you're deciding.
Okay.
We are a political subdivision of the state, so we're government.
Okay.
There cannot be any debate outside of a public forum.
Okay. So you're
Now,
not closed door.
I can. Well, you can. It's
Yeah.
illegal.
Okay.
I mean, I have the ability to educate the board. That's my job.
Okay.
But I have to do it individually. I can't
Go to
I can't-
all of them
I
outside.
can't have,
Because
I can't
if
have
you-
a quorum debate.
Because then
whether
therefore
it's
you're
email, whether
breaking
it's
the
chat,
Open Meetings
yeah,
Act
you
and
have
all
to
that
do it
stuff. Right. Okay.
In transparent form.
Right.
On top of it, every decision we make, on top of every dollar we spent, is on the MetroParks website. Our whole cut sheet of where every dollar went.
Okay.
You can download the check register.
So I can check the financing.
Correct.
I can see all of the decisions being made.
Correct.
What about executive meetings, executive sessions? You do anything like
executive
that?
session is the only method in which you can discuss a topic, and the topics are limited in private.
Hiring,
But
firing.
you can't make any decision
Okay.
in private. You still have to come back into public session and make the decision.
Okay.
So any claim, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt,
you're fine. You go ahead.
any claim
I'm
of
looking.
lack of transparency is coming from someone who's, one, ill-informed, two, probably hasn't been to a single meeting,
Right.
and three, is just attempting to what's going to stick at the wall.
Fire out there.
Yeah.
Or they don't like the decision.
Right. I mean, if you are a resident and you're unsure about something, the best thing to do is on your own time, go to the website, see what you can find. If you don't find what you're looking for there, just call us.
Yeah.
Just reach out and say, hey, man, I couldn't find this. What's up with this decision?
Is the community allowed to talk to you at the meetings?
Yeah, there's a public input session.
Okay.
Let's explain that. The way the law works in Ohio is that during a public meeting, you can have a public comment period. It's not required.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, what group that represents the community wants to say, no, we don't want to hear from you? There's
Right.
nobody in their right mind that
Right,
wants to do
right.
that. So
There
you're going to
are-
have a public
yeah,
comment,
yeah.
but the public comment period at the MetroParks is you get up, you get 3 minutes to address the board. And then the last caveat with that is keep in mind, I'm not a board member. I'm the executive. So this is
Yeah.
a board meeting. This is a business meeting where they're going to make decisions. I'm actually the board secretary, so I have to document every motion, every comment, every action. So I'm over there typing away.
Yeah.
People in the audience are hacked off because I'm
You're not paying
I'm
attention.
not looking at and paying
you're not
attention.
paying attention. Right.
Because I'm not looking at you has nothing to do with whether I'm paying attention. Matter of fact, I probably recorded every word that came out of your mouth.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
They're there to start trouble.
Yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate because as people
Mhm.
that critique and constantly, like we just got out of the West Branch situation, critique leadership.
What do you mean, West Branch?
So you didn't hear
Oh,
about
you
the
didn't hear about the
West
West
Branch where they fired the
Branch
I
coach?
mean, other than the coach thing?
Yeah, the
Oh,
coach thing.
yeah. I mean,
So
We were knee deep in that.
Oh.
right.
We were. I'm sorry. We were not even knee deep.
So that
Over
was
our
we're
necks.
coming off of that, which
Okay.
was a perfect example of transparency could have helped those leaders,
sure.
and they totally were so far away from good transparency and communicating with the public,
Sure.
and that was ultimately their downfall. But what you're making me lose my thoughts here.
Looking at Joe pouring literally over all of his wires.
So I would love to hear if there are people watching that are saying there's a lack of transparency. I need examples. I want to know what that was. So like you said,
Yeah.
in those meetings where they have those public forums, how many times, or they're like the public's allowed to talk, how many times have bad leadership said, well, we don't legally have to have this public discussion, and we're not going to. And it's like if you allow them to do that, that's a good thing. But I remember boards saying we don't have to let you talk, so we're not going to. That's terrible.
Here's the
Terrible.
here's the other problem. You have the same people going to the same meeting, saying the same thing
Over and over and over and
over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
You as the board or the committee, they don't have to address them.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example, and I wouldn't want to speak on the West Branch thing because I'm not
Right,
educated
right.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
what
yeah,
that
yeah.
topic was or
Right.
how that group
Yeah.
operated. I'll give you an example of what happened, and I know the deer thing is one thing that you're
Yeah.
close to, so
Oh, yeah.
we'll use that.
Yeah, use
right?
that.
Yeah.
So we did 2 board meetings where we presented a lot of survey findings, a lot of data, educating our board on what
Yeah.
we've got to do. I mean, because look, the people who work at the park, we're the park professionals. The board members are the volunteers who are there to set policy that we got to operate by.
Okay.
So we got to educate people who probably don't have a clue about
Yeah,
deer
right,
management
right,
at times.
fair.
So you're educating them. Do you know at both of those 2 meetings, there wasn't a single member of the public sitting there. Everybody in the audience was a MetroParks employee.
And those were open public.
And those are open public meetings. And then the very next meeting, people come in saying we weren't being transparent. We sat here for 2 hours talking about here. None of you showed up.
Right. So,
and then on top of it, we took the same presentation that we gave to the board and put on the website.
I've gone over that literally page by page by page, and that is the most detailed thing I've ever read.
So someone who's been on the opposite side of that, I'm very skeptical of whenever I hear someone say lack of transparency, because to me, that's what they can wrap their minds around, and they've heard it before. They've heard it before.
I said West Branch was so bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
West Branch was.
So I'm a little skeptical of that. I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm just saying I'm a little skeptical of that. It's like, well, let's get down in the weeds. What's really your argument? Do you not understand the issue? Because I'd rather you just say, hey, I heard you, but I don't quite understand. Help me understand what you're saying here.
Right.
Point me in the right direction rather than, oh, you're not being transparent.
Right.
Where were you?
Right. Correct. If you give the opportunity and they don't take it, that's on them.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there is that obligation. You want to have openness and people be at the meetings, but man, we can't make people come.
You can't.
We broadcast it. I can't make you watch.
Yeah. You can't make them go to the website.
I can't force you to do anything. Part of being an educated voter or an educated member of the community is, one, you have to value education. And two, you have to seek it.
Right.
It seems like everybody wants to be sat around and spoon-fed every decision that's going to be made, but you don't want to educate yourself on that.
And the problem is too, if you don't agree with the decision that's being made, anyways,
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. These days, 95% of the people aren't going to change their minds, even if you give them all the information that makes total sense. They're going to say that information is not accurate, that information is false. They're setting it up. You know what I mean? It's just over and over.
And that debate can be healthy. I mean, look, I'm not here to say the MetroParks is never going to misstep. I mean, that's not my role here. I mean, our role is to be honest, to be transparent, and to make decisions that affect the MetroParks and the people who use it in the short term and 20 years from now.
Right.
What does that decision do for us now? And what does that decision do 20 years from now? You know, I can remember our natural resource manager coming in and saying, hey man, we got a deer problem. And I was like, no. Anybody in the field will be able to tell you we've got a deer problem, but we have to educate the community. There has to be so many facts here to educate everyone on why we're going to do this. If you guys are professionals, if you spent 2 years gathering data, would you think you're confident in your ability?
I'll do it for a week and be ready to go.
Right. It took 2 years gathering data. To have people say we were lying, that we were not transparent, and that they didn't believe it.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
How do you propose we respond to that? We tried to do it with just facts and just
And then you guys did the helicopter surveys. That was wrong. You did the ground survey.
So here's one. Here's a comment. Sam Carbon says, as far as the Mill Creek deer hunting, why did taxpayer money have to be spent on hiring out of county people to hunt the deer down instead of allowing residents of the county to get deer tags? I never did hear an answer to that question in anything at all online or the news or otherwise.
There we go.
What do you got?
Let's address the one caveat of that first, and then we'll hit the other stuff.
Okay.
I can understand that. That's actually a consistent question we get.
Yeah.
It is illegal for us to give a flying hoot about where you get your mail sent.
What do you mean?
Where you live.
Okay. Okay.
So this whole out of county thing, I have no legal obligation or requirement to where do you live?
We're saying about deer hunting,
anything.
Okay.
We're not. There's laws that protect people about where you live.
Okay.
And being from the valley, I always find it kind of peculiar about where do they live? You know, they talk about where you went to high school.
Where do you live? We've talked about that before. That is a very Mahoning Trumbull.
Do you know how many people I see coming down Route 11 in the morning with Trumbull plates?
Yeah, right.
You know how many people I see going out of Trumbull County with Mahoning plates?
Right.
How many people in Mahoning County worked at GM?
Yeah.
Where's GM located?
Yeah.
You want GM saying we're not going to hire anyone from Mahoning County? I mean, let's just dispel that whole old school argument of I don't care where you get your mail sent.
Right.
Secondly, we're a tax funded organization. Everything we do is taxpayer dollars. Unless there's
is it all from Mahoning County, Trumbull? It's all from our counties?
Tax dollars?
Yeah.
It's a Mahoning County property tax.
Okay. So all of it's funded through Mahoning County. So I think what he's saying,
if you look at if you look at our budget for this year, the tax dollars were 53% of what we brought in terms of revenue.
Okay.
When I started here, it was 72.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys are making,
So third-party dollars. Now, who did we hire?
So I think he's talking about when he says hiring out of county people. Are you talking? There's two things with the deer. There is the state ODNR hunters or whatever that is.
Correct.
And then there are the lotto drawing.
They're the same.
Well, the lotto drawing.
The lotto drawing is the hunters. You can't hunt without going through the lotto.
Okay, but I think he's talking about the calling. I don't know if you're talking about the calling people.
The calling was done through the USDA federal program.
Okay, federal program, USDA. So that's that one. So if you're talking taxpayer money, I guess I'm confused why you're saying, why did taxpayer money have to be spent on hiring out of county people to hunt the deer down?
Yeah. So if you're asking if the USDA employees are out of county, I have no idea where they live.
Yeah.
Right. What about I
think from Sam, I've seen Sam comment this before. I believe he's talking about the program where the drawings.
Yeah.
And that can come from anywhere in the state.
Well,
people can come and hunt.
The drawing is managed by the Division of Wildlife, which is a state organization.
Okay.
So in order for them to manage the program, which we wanted them to manage the program, in full transparency, guys, I didn't want us having to manage a lottery system because you know what's going to happen. You know how many phone calls we're going to get from local Joe Local saying, I pay your taxes and I want to get picked. Who doesn't want to get picked?
I understand the argument.
I understand.
You're my freaking. I'm not going to say. Last year I put in for the lottery. Guys, my freaking son's godfather. I didn't get picked.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's kind of
they run the
rude
program, but you don't. As long as you're an Ohio resident. Now, I don't know enough about it. Can out of state people apply? I don't know. I don't run the
you're not allowed to have any type of say with the USDA where you're like, hey, whatever it is.
USDA is the
Federal.
hunters. ODNR is the drawing.
So we're doing the drawing. Could we only have hunters from Mahoning and Trumbull County because that's what's like? Are you allowed to have a say like that?
Something that a state organization wants.
But here's the opposite of this though, Sam. I applied for the one in Mill Creek Park,
correct?
But then I also applied when it was on their website. I saw the one in like Chagrin Falls. Like there were other ones.
Yeah, there's
close that I applied for, and I applied for. Sam, and then I also applied for the one down in what's the park down south that we used to go to? Where the Bigfoot are.
Salt Fork.
Salt Fork. I applied at Salt Fork too. So you can apply, Sam. If you go on their website, you can apply for all the different hunting spots. I know I didn't win anything.
Sam says, okay, thank you for answering my question. I did not realize that there was a state managed event, not a park managed.
There you go.
Interesting.
Look at that.
Me neither, honestly.
Making a difference.
Linda.
Isn't that the way it's supposed to
go? Making a difference.
That's the way it's supposed to go.
We answered one question on the podcast today, boys. Congratulations. We are at least a little bit effective.
We are doing our due.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Wow.
Linda says, we did mention this earlier, but Linda says, I worry about all the trees that are down. Back in the 70s, my husband worked forestry, and that's all they did was remove down trees. I realized it's wet now, but I worry about a fire. Is there such a crew out there now?
Yeah, we have our own forestry crew. We have 7 certified arborists on staff. There's different level of maintenance in the MetroParks.
Are they local?
That
was a joke.
That's kind of like your elected official.
Are they local?
I don't really care.
Do they live outside the park?
Do they live in Youngstown? Where are they from?
Right. So the other part of it is levels of maintenance. Golf course would be on one end of the spectrum, right? You're talking a high level, high manicured.
Right.
Beautiful.
Preserve would be on the other end where you're letting nature take its course.
Because there's no trails or anything else like that.
Well, there might be trails, but you're taking a more natural approach to it of succession and all of that. The rest of the park is somewhere in between.
Right.
A lot of our discussion about tree removal is doing no harm, right? If there's a dead tree and it's next to where there's a road or a trail, if it's going to fall down, there's the potential that it could hurt someone. You'll probably see us go in and take that dead tree down rather than letting Mother Nature do its thing.
Yeah.
As far as going in and cleaning up and manicuring the forest because a tree fell down, you're not going to see that. It's not a best management practice in the park world.
Okay.
You're just not going to see
Why?
that.
Why not? Because they said it's going to cause a forest fire.
Have you seen the level of rain we've had in Northeast Ohio?
But in California,
right?
In California,
right.
Trump critiqued the fires out there because they didn't clean up.
California is not Ohio, and that's a valid argument. When you're looking at the West, that's a valid argument. Here in the Midwest, where water is aplenty, you're not going to see that. Now, finally, I'll say, sometimes you're in a position to where you've got a tree that's come down, it's right by the road, and it's a very mature tree. There's probably some value to that tree. We will remove that tree after it falls. We'll cut it, we'll remove it, and then we'll have to sell that.
Hold on 1 second. Isaac!
What's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
Isaac, this is Aaron Young,
Mill Creek Park.
Nice to
Executive
meet you.
Director of Mill Creek Park.
You walk?
Yeah.
You walk?
Yeah, he does. There he is.
You walk the trails, Isaac? You walk the trails at all?
I haven't been down there in a while.
Oh, come on.
I'm gonna tell you, as a kid, I knew all those trails.
Okay.
There you
I
go.
stayed down there all the time.
See, it's generational.
That's where he got his training to be a mailman.
he
I
used to.
played down the Volley Roger football league.
There you go. He used to walk the trails like I'm going to be a mailman.
I'm going to be the best mailman one day. Good one.
I used to, yeah. Sorry.
So yeah, we actually get that inquiry a lot. We're not interested in treating all 5,000 acres that we have as a golf course and cutting up every tree that falls down. I mean,
okay, wait, here we go.
A system.
So Linda says, I'm talking about the trees that are down on top of other trees. I've seen a lot of it in the park, right along Shaban. There's a ton of them laying on top of each other. It looks terrible. But is it in my question is, if it's in the actual woods,
correct,
like not on the roads,
correct.
That's the natural progression of a forest.
We'll do more damage driving in there and cutting up and pulling them out than we would just letting it there. I mean, my point of level of maintenance is, if you think it looks bad, that's not enough of justification for why you go in.
Because it's I mean, I get it, Linda. It looks bad, but if it's not a danger, it's not a. I guess if it's not a danger,
if you weren't driving by it and it was out in the middle of nowhere,
it wouldn't matter.
It's natural, right? So that's their argument: is it's a natural thing. Let the they're not going to sweep the floor of the entire Mill Creek Park owned land. Like, that's just not.
I go fishing in northern Canada 3 times a year, middle of nowhere. There's nobody cleaning out trees up there.
Right.
Middle of Ontario. There's nobody cleaning. It's just not going to happen.
If we were having regular forest fires like California, then you can make the argument. But we're very, very.
And there's certainly avenues and positions on forestry management. I mean, keep that in mind too.
Right.
I mean, if you think people are upset about a deer management program, what do you think they would do if the MetroParks came in and said, we're going to undertake a forestry management program, or we're going to go in and we're going to cut every tree between 18 and 24 inches and maximize the profits? And,
right.
I mean,
right.
that's just not where we are. I mean, one avenue, and this is really why I have high confidence in the professionals at the park. I mean, if you think deer management is an isolated issue, then you're not looking at forestry management. You're not looking at the regenerative capability of the park. I mean, go in at the park and try to identify any type of white oak seedling knee high. They're
nowhere.
not there.
Yeah.
And what that means is when these oaks and maples and everything else that we have, when they do get blown over in a storm, there's nothing there to replace it.
Right.
Wow.
That's why you see us planting all the trees that we're planting. That's why you see us doing the deer management program that we're doing.
Right.
We've got to make sure that, man, in 100 years from now, the people who were ever running the park at that time, we don't want them looking back on history and saying, what were those people doing? They should have been doing deer management back then.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we are.
How do you sell the wood? Is it auctioned?
Do you sell the wood?
Yeah, we have to auction it. Yeah, I mean, we're a governmental entity, so we don't have the ability to just.
So you're not selling it and keeping it and buying
you're not
stuff for
telling
yourself.
I'm selling it to you, and you're doing crown molding at your house with like
Isaac
virgin
Chicken's
red oak.
right off. right.
That's that came right off of Lockwood. That's a down tree right off of Lockwood.
Check this table out, baby.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to auction it, and again, it's that transparency. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we try to auction something and we get no bids.
Yeah.
You gotta call me. I'll still come
Then we
in
have
there.
the ability to go and sell.
Luke,
and do
since
all
you
that.
guys are best friends, he could probably hook you up with some good wood.
Process.
Dude, I'm telling you, I want a table. Make a table
Out of like
one of those
tree.
giant oak trees. That,
Yeah,
it's
right.
just
The most
I used to
famous.
do that in the past. I used to give out
Hell
the
yes.
firewood, but you can't. You can't do that. That's a resource.
Yeah.
So you can't pick and choose who gets it and who doesn't.
I have a
So-
personal question.
Oh boy.
the golf course or the golf carts that you use and like the Kubotas I see driving around on the bike path
So
all the
ridiculous.
time. I have 5 acres and I'm in need of a golf cart. Have you ever looked at how expensive golf carts are? Can I buy one off the park?
No.
When they when they go to
Yes,
Kit,
they're
can I
expensive.
buy one?
Dude, they're
They
so
are
expensive.
very expensive.
You could buy a small car, like a
Like
car.
$2,500
Yeah.
for like
Yeah.
a golf cart from '97.
I'm like, and you're lucky if it's $2,500.
Right,
That's
right.
cheap, dude.
It's
That's
so
cheap.
You're
Yeah.
lucky. Go
Yeah.
to Craigslist, man. They're somewhere between $4,000 and $8,000.
I walk
for a
on-
beat-up golf cart.
I walk on that bike path and that guy drives by on that nice Kubota. I'm like, I could probably kick that guy off and take it, and nobody will.
I think you
Nobody will. I'll
should-
drive back to my house. I'll hide it in my
Yeah.
barn. Nobody will find
just
it.
grab a golf cart and see how far.
Well,
you
I
can
mean,
get
we'll
closer.
find it. I mean, GPS will tell me how to get to your house. You know how we talked about that voiceover phone system? There's more.
Oh, hey, Aaron, how's it going? buddy?
What you doing?
There's more technology going on in the park.
Give me the golf cart. I think.
Right. I need the golf cart.
First off, it's not a golf cart; it's a Kubota.
It's a Kubota.
MetroParks police are on their way.
All right, let's hear it. Okay, I'm saving this one. I'm saving this one, Aaron. I got it. We'll save this one. All right. You ready for another one here?
Sure.
Oh, this is a good one. Rising administrative salaries, Aaron.
Sure.
You paying yourself a lot there. Questions about the high salaries and benefits for upper level management, including Aaron Young, while other departments face budget cuts and cutbacks. Are you paying yourself
what's the
more?
question?
I don't know. That's just an accusation. I guess
Right.
it's not really a.
So why are you?
Why are you paying yourself so much?
How? Okay. How? I guess how's the is public as we're allowed to go? I mean, what is
It's all
public?
it's all
not
public, man.
Okay.
That's all public.
Okay. So I guess the argument would be, why are you? How's the pay structure work?
Is that true?
And
Is that
Are you
true?
getting paid
Yeah.
more than when there's other
obviously the
cutbacks?
highest paid employee at the MetroParks. I mean, there's no way to argue that.
What, he's
Any
also the executive director.
any
I mean-
executive or president is going to be.
Got it.
Yeah.
I, of all things, one of the most things I am proud of is where we are with the salary structure at the MetroParks.
Okay.
Back in 2015, shortly before you and I first met,
Right.
I joined the park. Every employee had gone 9 years without an increase.
Wow. 9 years.
9 years.
I'd be out.
9 years.
I'd be
How many
out, yeah.
people wouldn't, right?
Yeah, I'd be out.
9 years. So in the time I've been here, every year the employees have gotten a raise.
Mm.
We've got 2 unions who we've got great relationships with.
Mm.
We've gone through collective bargaining with them.
Awesome.
Everything's been going well. When you look at our budget and our salary structure, you'd have to go to the webpage, but don't quote me. I think our salaries and wages are like 37% of what we operate on.
Wow.
Most public entities are well over 50%.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
You get what you pay for is what I'm always going to tell those people.
Right. Right. So with the salaries, who's union? I guess let's start there. Who's
We
union?
have 2 unions, the Fraternal Order of Police for our MetroParks Police, and we have AFSCME.
Okay. So,
So
and
50% of our staff are union employees.
so then therefore 50% of the staff. So it's like the union's going to protect those guys anyways. And it's going to end up fair, right? You know what I mean?
Well, I
Right?
mean, that's their purpose. I mean, we have a great relationship with them. We've got 2 agreements.
Right.
We've had union negotiations several times in the tenure that I've had to get to where these guys are getting rewarded for their
Right.
performance. I don't want to say never, but I'm never going to apologize for someone earning a great pay for their performance. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times, and I feel like we can say this because we're we're born and raised in the Valley. The Valley has a tendency to think having a job is success,
Yeah.
regardless of whether you're any good at it or you like it.
Right.
If you're employed, man, everybody thinks you got the world by the tail. Let's talk about whether you like it and if you're
Right.
good at it.
Oh,
Don't you want the
100%.
latter too?
Right.
And if I'm good at it and I like it, damn, I want it to be as high as paying as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, any job. I've worked jobs that I don't like. I can't do it.
Who didn't? It's called
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
It makes it so much harder.
Right.
It makes it so much harder.
Right.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah,
wait,
sure.
Sam had a question real quick. Where are for the? I guess this is for back to the wood. Where are the auctions held? Are they online, in person, or?
Yeah, most of ours are online.
Right on the website?
Yeah, no. I think the last auction we did was through Jeff Bice, local
Jeff
guy
Bice.
here. Yeah,
Okay.
he did a lot of our auctions for us. Otherwise, you'll see equipment get signed off on. It's on Gov Deals. That's an auction site for governments.
Okay.
So go to
Wow.
govdeals.com and you can search every public entity that's auctioning stuff.
Huh.
It's the easiest way for governmental people to get rid of stuff they don't need.
There you go. All right. Maybe get a golf cart.
They're on there.
It's the auction. I'm gonna go on there and try.
The problem is
$7,000.
Yeah.
The lowest bid.
Our dad says, Aaron, why would you say you know the MLO Bros? That's our dad for something.
Why would I say I know?
He
Why
probably
would you
doesn't,
say
Pop.
you
He's just on here right
Oh.
now. He's just like,
Oh.
yeah.
I guess I know you from 2 meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
He
Exactly.
doesn't really know us.
Yeah,
If
he
he
doesn't.
really knew us, he would not come in.
If anybody really knew us, they would not come in. All right. Oh, here's a good one. I golf Mill Creek Park once
Sure.
a week. Love the golf course.
Mhm.
I actually play in a 75 and over league. I got invited. It's me and a bunch of 75-year-olds.
How do you
on
do
Thursday.
that? How do they let you? Like, you must really suck.
No, it's not a suck. These dudes golf like 5 days a week. They play from the red tee.
Yeah, but if you think about it, if you were really good, they wouldn't let you play with them.
no, they
But
know.
it's because you stink that they let
It's
you
because
play.
they know I'm an easy $10 for their gambling every week.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I mean, 100%.
Yeah, if you were good, they'd never let
No,
you.
no, absolutely not. And these dudes, 150 yards, no, 175 yards to 200,
Straight as an arrow.
200 on the green,
Yep.
putting for birdie. I am all the way back, like 75 yards from the tees, slicing it in. And there's, you
Right.
talk about trees down, there's freaking woods everywhere.
right.
All right. So mixed review. Okay. Mill Creek Golf Course Management. Mixed reviews. This is, again, a statement. I would just want to hear your take on it. Mixed reviews and complaints about the course upkeep, pricing, leadership decisions affecting golfers and leagues. I don't agree with any of that.
Oh, I would say BS. On
Yeah,
that.
every one of those is bullcrap. The course is in amazing condition. The pricing, if you're a Mahoning County, it's $30.
It's borderline embarrassing. I'll
Like-
give you an example. We had
Yeah.
members of the Donald Ross Society came in just last week. They
What's
gave
that?
Donald Ross is
Oh.
who designed the course.
Oh, Donald Rossi. Yeah.
Whole society dedicated to Donald Ross courses. They came in, presented the MetroParks with a $10,000 check because of what we're doing at
Yeah.
the course.
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
you know the first question they asked us? When are you going to consider raising rates?
Wow.
It's only local that people complain about not getting something for free. Anybody that comes in from out of town, ask the people who come in from Vancouver.
Oh,
Come down
dude.
to do a stay in
yeah.
Park.
Oh, my God.
They think it's crazy.
Yeah.
Ask the people who are next door
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh who
Right.
drive over
Yeah,
to play a
play
Donald
it.
Ross
Wow.
course
Yeah.
and what they have to pay.
Actually, you say that name. I've actually sworn when I was golfing, like, because I hit it into a sand trap right there at the green. I was like, who the would put a sand trap right there? They've said that name.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Ross.
Donald Ross.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a Youngstown thing where we live in a low-ish income area compared to the rest of the United States. I think one of the lowest, and we just don't get out enough, obviously, to appreciate what we have here. I think that's
Dude, it's like $30 to golf 18. I don't think
Right.
that's got to be the cheapest place in.
Yeah, I
that's-
mean, and
that's
again, our
cheaper.
rates, we don't go to the board with any type of rate increase
Yeah.
without sharing with the board. This is what the local
Yeah,
market
that's
is.
crazy.
I mean, I'll give you an example. Why would I, as the MetroParks, want to undercut the market?
Right.
We're not
Yeah.
we're not here to undercut anyone. We're here
Right.
just to be another option for what people do in the market. But yeah, I mean, we've got to get out of that realm of because it's a public course, it needs to be free. I mean,
Nobody's free.
nobody does that
Nothing's
anymore. That's
free.
not a sustainable
But
practice.
you're going to complain about the price and then say there's not upkeep. You need to pay for
Correct.
upkeep.
Correct.
right.
That-
So
that
it's kind of
course,
hypocritical.
one of the largest amount of comments we get back is the condition of our course.
It's amazing.
It's I don't really have an argument.
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
So the argument on price, though, too, would be like, hey, comparable to other courses in our area, where do we rank in terms of
Dude,
most expensive?
that course is probably
Not
one
even
of the
close.
lower.
Right.
Yeah,
so that's
not even
my
close.
argument. You know,
Yeah, not even
you're
close.
going here because it's cheaper and it's taken care of beautifully.
It is
Like,
probably
what do you want?
priced the same as some of the worst courses in here.
right. So then, if
It
you
is
want
one of
more
the nice-
upkeep, what do you
yeah.
have to do? You have to pay more.
I got to
Do
be
you wanna
quiet.
pay
I
more,
gotta
or do you
raise the
want
price, and the old guys are gonna get mad at me for getting.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, I will tell you one of the funniest comments we always get in the golf team. You know, Brian, Stacy, Lance, those guys that are really leading the
Yeah.
program down there. They find it hysterically amusing. Is we had someone email the board and want to know why I spent X amount of hours on a certain day golfing, and that they saw me and I was rude and a bunch of other things. And my own team was like, "Do they know you don't golf?" And I was like, "No."
So you were golfing and you were being
I don't
It
golf.
wasn't even you.
I don't golf.
Okay, so is this true, guys? You golf, Luke. It's 46 to play and ride 18 holes in a cart.
Maybe
It's
on a
no longer the
Saturday.
cheaper option in the area.
hold on, let me look.
Corey, where are some cheaper places? Give me
What's
some
the
examples, Corey.
Pricing. I think that might be the weekend price. And again, you know what? I walk 18.
Yeah, it all depends on whether you walk, whether you ride a
Pricing
cart,
for
whether it's during the
Creek
day,
Park.
whether you're a resident.
Corey,
or out
we'll
of
come
town.
back to you. Get us some examples, man, of more expensive places, or the same or
If
cheaper.
it was too expensive, you would see play diminish.
Correct.
You know, during the presentation I gave yesterday, you do know, and maybe people don't, so I shouldn't assume. In 2025, you'll see 100,000 rounds played at that course.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Demand.
I'm pretty sure it's not too expensive.
Dude,
Demand is for that price.
I was there Thursday at 9 a.m. Granted, I'm the youngest person by 30 years.
Reserve run Kensington during
Dude,
the week. I'm gonna
Kenzie,
bet
I call
some
bullshit on that,
money.
dude.
I'm gonna bet some money
Yeah.
that Kensington's more expensive. than
I call BS. All right. So we're doing during the week. All right, hold on here.
Reserve run is less than $46 for
There is
18 and
no
older.
way.
Man, we should look up pricing.
I'm looking it up right now. I call BS. Prove me wrong, Corey. Let's see here.
And another thing too, Corey, is you're saying nicer, well kept courses too, because if you go on the cheap side, I'm gonna say, are they taken care of? That would be my
What?
argument back. Sam says, is there any plan to connect the bike and walking path off of 224 by the golf course to the lake, the river trail that runs west of Canfield at all? Or is there already a connection between the two through the Mill Creek area? Through the Mill Creek.
Yeah. No, there are not currently any plans to connect the two. If you look at the two trails, they're both north-south trails. So you need an east-west connection to get to them. So to answer that question, not currently, no.
Jeff says, I have played golf all over the country, including Pebble Beach, and Mill Creek is amongst the best in the country. There you go. That's awesome. What are you guys doing over off of the bike path out there in Canfield, over by like the down past the oh my gosh, it's by like the kids' playground. They're like, you're clearing all the trees. That's why the Kubota keeps driving by me. You're clearing all the trees off the path.
Yeah, down
Off
in that
the
area,
left of the-
down there, there's a lot of the ash trees that are dead from that emerald ash borer bug.
Oh,
So they're standing dead trees that if they fall, they're going to hit either the connection to the playground area or the trail itself. So that's why
Okay.
you'll see us
Yep.
taking them down.
Yeah.
Assuming that's the park people. There are other people down there doing some work too.
Oh, maybe it's not parkland. That's the
Yeah.
other thing.
It just
I mean,
depends
it's
on where you're
completely
at.
clearing.
Yeah,
Like,
we're not doing any of
okay.
that.
Okay.
Kensington's 46.
So it's right on at Kensington. Interesting. Okay.
Reserve run is 40. But here's the thing about reserve run, and I know this stuff, dude. You cannot get off on reserve run for months
You got to plan it. Yeah.
because you have to have a tee time.
Because because of demand, because it's cheap. People
Yeah.
realize it's cheap, so they plan it out.
I can never get off there. And then Kensington's about the same. However, I will bet if you took a survey of golfers,
Okay.
Kensington, Reserve Run, Mill Creek Park, they
Okay.
would say they're all exactly the same. If not, Mill Creek is better.
Really?
That would be my call.
Yeah, I don't golf enough to know.
That would be my call.
Michelle or Michael says, ask Aaron if the trees are left where they fall are due to diseases.
Well, Ohio has a do not transport a firewood thing that you're not supposed to leave the county with any type of firewood.
Because
So
of
we don't cut up or do
Yeah.
any of that. So we don't have to necessarily worry about that. But
About diseases or anything.
well,
Okay.
the diseases are what's killing them. I mean, the emerald
Right.
ash borer is dying.
That's doing it all over, though.
leaf disease that's out there that's going to kill the beech trees. There's a thing called hemlock woolly adelgid, which is killing the hemlocks. I mean, there's a lot of work that's done in maintaining what we have at the MetroParks in terms of trees.
Let's see here. What
Looking
else?
at your notes.
Huh?
I was looking at your notes.
My notes?
Do you have any more?
Yeah, oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, I got ChatGPT's the best thing. I can just pull up so much controversial stuff. Let's see here. What else do we got to
Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
no.
Sorry.
Oh no, dude, don't. I don't want him to touch anything until I get to it. Number 6, expansion priorities versus park maintenance.
Sure.
This is again an accusation. Criticism that too much focus and money is being spent on expansion projects while existing park areas are neglected.
Like bike trails. Don't you dare come for my bike trails. You
Hold on. That's going to be our last topic. We're not talking the blind.
Yeah.
I knew we were going
I
at it.
like my bike trail.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, let's just say that our expansion efforts in the time that I've been here have been focused on 2 areas. One is areas that are adjacent to what we already own.
Okay.
So expanding what we already own, or 2, in areas that we don't currently have any land holdings. So underserved areas of the county.
Fair.
Every expansion opportunity that the MetroParks has achieved, we have gotten 75 cents or more on the dollar for the property.
So they've been valued.
So somebody else has paid for it.
Okay, right. Wait, how's that?
75 cents through a
But-
grant.
Through grants and stuff. So, okay, you're not
Yeah.
just taking my tax money
So-
and buying land.
Yeah, it's 75% of every dollar through whether it's the Clean Ohio program or a partnership with the Land Conservancy. We're working on 2 now that won't cost the MetroParks anything.
Where's that at?
I can't tell you.
I gotta try.
And let's talk about that. Why can't I tell you? It drives up the price. So land acquisition. Look, man,
Where's your
as
freaking
soon as-
transparency
as
at now?
As
Young?
soon as people see that
Yeah.
the park is interested in a property,
The
that's
MLO
leading
Bros
to
will buy
the-
it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, the zeros start getting added to the back of the price.
That
We'll go buy it.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, the Springfield one,
Yep.
is amazing.
Springfield Forest. Yep.
Springfield Forest. It's a small little.
Yeah.
It's
very
by the
small.
highway,
Yep.
which is loud, but again, it's super nice once you get in there.
Yep.
We went fishing there.
Mhm.
There's like, have you seen pictures?
It's crystal
There is,
clear.
dude, it's like the Bahamas.
Right.
You could like spot fish for bass.
Yeah.
And then the other one was down off of 224 where I got my hunting ticket. Somebody donated a hunting thing for me for a week.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which one is that? That's the old horse farm.
Horse Farm
It's like-
Reserve or the Sanctuary.
Yeah. Is that down
Yeah.
224?
Well, it's south. Oh, the Horse Farm's Vickers.
Vickers.
Yeah.
I had my pass at
Mhm.
Vickers. Dude, that place is deep woods with like a creek. It is amazing.
Yeah.
And
Do you ever get any pushback from like private citizens that are like, hey, you keep buying up land. I want to buy land.
Mhm.
You're competing with me and you're more likely to get it because you're the park. Do you ever get any pushback like that? Like, I want that land,
No.
or you're hurting.
I mean, you've always heard the argument about expanding and all of that, but
Right.
never directly in the decade that I've been there that
Wow.
we're doing it.
I
We're
would-
we're a buyer.
Yeah.
We would be a buyer just like anyone else, but we're not out there to. We're
So
not buying land.
I
Just to buy
want
land.
the park to grow as much as possible, even in different areas. But after you go to these outlying Mill Creek Park spots,
Yeah.
they're amazing.
Yeah, but the argument would be like if they weren't there, we could gobble up all this land. Land would be cheaper.
And build houses.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to make an argument.
Yeah,
yeah, build houses.
You
so
guys
can-
are in the market. I'll say, to my knowledge, that's not how the market works. It's
Yeah.
the price.
Yeah. I don't know. I personally, as a neighbor, would rather have a park.
Yeah, 100%.
That
So they
could be-
don't put up
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be my thought on that.
Corey says
oh,
reserve
go ahead.
run today right now is $45. Kensington is $45 right now. Mill Creek is $46. I like Mill Creek. I'm not trying to talk bad about them, but they are no longer a cheaper option by $1.
I'll tell you what I'm going to tell you to do, Corey. You grab your clubs. You can rent a golf cart, like a pull cart, for like $2 and just walk. I do that I try and do that 3 days a week. Once at Mill Creek Park.
So my other
Super
argument, Corey, would be if you're booking it out real far, right? So like is reserve run, like Luke said,
try
booked
and
out.
get 18 tomorrow.
Try and get 18 in Kensington, and then try and get 18 at Mill Creek. How hard is it?
I guarantee you get it.
Yeah.
Can you tell me this one? This is another one that I've been reading about. I think it goes back to the deer people. This is not on my ChatGPT. What's the one with there was one of the places had like a pond or a lake, and there was a dock.
Yep.
And you turned it into a swamp.
Yep.
And now everybody's mad at you, or there's one guy that's super mad at
There's
you.
one guy kind of stirring the pot with
Who I think is linked to the deer people.
Why'd you
by the
turn
way.
a lake into a
There's
swamp?
no thinking about it.
He is linked to the deer
That's
people.
correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's the McGuffey Wildlife Preserve.
Where's that
in
at?
Coatesville.
Oh, Hubbard.
Yeah,
Okay.
Coatesville.
Okay, I gotcha.
That property was donated by the Historical Society. to
McGuffey
the
Historical
MetroParks
Society. Okay.
back in like 1998.
Okay.
And there's a donor agreement that outlines the responsibilities of each party.
Okay.
There's a low-lying area in that property that over time's turned into a wetland. Representatives from the Historical Society are claiming that that was a pond and that the MetroParks should expand that, dredge it, turn it back into a pond.
Okay.
It's not been a pond in the decade that I've been at the MetroParks.
Okay.
There's no mention of a pond in the maintenance agreement that we have.
Okay.
The Army Corps has classified it as a Class 2 wetlands.
Which is better than a pond in all reality for
From a
nature and
natural
everything from a
resource
natural resource.
standpoint.
Yeah. Right.
Interesting.
So you can put me on record as we will not be digging a pond at.
How dare you turn that beautiful
You-
pond into a cesspool, sir?
That's been the hardest part of what we've dealt with in the last year are just the attacks from that side. regarding this issue.
Again,
We've been called racist. We've been called everything under the sun for why a group doesn't get what it wants.
Yeah.
And in this instance, it's one person.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
just not. We're not.
who's
gonna do
linked
that.
to
Correct.
that group
Correct.
of people, which is funny. As soon as I saw him talking on the news, like, oh, that's totally
Yeah,
an
we're not.
STD.
doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, good for you. Stand your ground. I agree. Okay, you ready to get in this one? We got a half hour left. Aaron,
Mhm.
why do you want to take people's land?
Oh, I don't.
Eminent domain for a bike trail
Correct.
expansion. Now this one hits home because we're from North Lima, South Range area, man. So we know some of these people. We know some of these
It's your
people.
hometown, right?
That's our hometown.
That's
right.
around Les Hill, right?
I went to school with the lessons.
Son of a bitch. That is right around the corner from me.
That is right by your
That is
house.
right by my
You're
house.
gonna have electric bikes rented through
I'm
your
gonna
yard
have bikers driving by my property
in their
in
their
their
tight
in their
shorts.
suits, in their helmets,
There's-
staying on your left real loud.
It's good. This is the guy.
This guy.
This is the guy. Okay.
This guy.
All right. Eminent domain for bike trail expansion. MetroParks Board, under Aaron Young's leadership, pursued eminent domain to take private land for a bike trail. Many property owners and residents pushed back, calling it government overreach. I can't wait to hear this one.
Well, I don't know that there's not too much that's untrue about what statement was written there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we entered those appropriation process.
Can we talk about where you're trying to go? So
Under,
You're going to continue
Yeah.
on the bike path,
from
right?
Western Reserve.
that was the plan. I mean, this has all been decided. This is over.
Court.
Yeah, it's not
You lost in court, right?
Oh, it's not.
Did you wait?
Yeah.
Did you waste all of our tax money in court? That's the other thing I hear all
Well,
the time
again,
too.
we spent tax dollars. I mean, there's no way to argue
Okay,
it.
right.
And that would have gone
The
right by
only
my
the only
backyard.
caveat I guess I would add to that conversation is the bike trail process was that pendulum was put in motion decades before I even came to work at the
Okay.
MetroParks. Mill Creek had accepted federal dollars to build that bike trail before it owned the property.
Right now, and for those of you living under a rock, it goes from Niles.
Yeah, the Great Ohio Lake to River Greenway goes from the river or the Lake Erie all the way down to the river through multiple counties.
Wow.
And
Okay.
we're just Mahoning County.
So we're the Mahoney part, and that's
Yeah.
the part of that goes
Yeah,
like
and the
through
MetroParks manages that
Canfield
part.
and-
Yeah,
okay.
it goes south of Canfield and
down to
then-
what it ends at
Right.
Western Reserve, I believe.
How
Correct.
far would it have gone?
Man, I don't have that.
Down along like Washingtonville?
It would have taken us to Washingtonville to the Columbiana County line.
Oh,
Because
dude, that would have
we're a
been
county entity.
literally.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I would have loved that.
Yeah.
We're a county
Yep.
entity, so once it goes to the county line, we're out.
dude, it
Next
would have been
county-
sweet.
Yeah, because I could literally walk down to the South Range baseball fields. There's that back road there. I could
Cala.
walk down West Middletown, I think.
West Middletown.
West
yeah.
Middletown,
West
go
Middletown.
down West
Hit it.
Middletown and literally walk to the bike path.
Yeah.
That would have been
Those
so
dreams were
That
crushed.
that history is
Damn,
one
dude.
of a lot of complex items, and I'm free to get into
Yeah.
with you guys today. So the MetroParks had accepted this federal dollars to build this trail on property, quite frankly, that it didn't own. So it went and had to acquire that.
Okay.
And you've heard me say earlier, once that happens, what happens to the dollar value?
Right.
Okay.
Goes. Yeah.
Secondly, to go build a trail or anything in particular on something that you don't already own, it's kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, you want to be able to own the property before you.
So they
start
were
talking
planning
about-
this before
So
it
the
was
park
ever
had been
done.
planning this since
Right.
like
Wow.
98.
Wow. Okay.
I believe the date was. And so the first few phases were complete, which is what you guys probably partake in now.
Yeah.
And then this was the final phase. And so when I joined in 2015, they were already in the middle of the design was like done. They were starting to meet with property owners.
Okay.
Whoa.
So when I walk in, they're like, oh yeah, we're meeting with property owners, blah, blah, blah. If we can't come to an agreement on buying their property, we're going to go through the appropriation process.
Appropriation.
I walk
process.
in and that's the plan. I mean, you're like the quarterback in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
We got to run it down their throats because the wideouts can't catch. The
Yeah.
quarterback can't throw. So what we did is you negotiate in good faith with everyone talking about it. Some people sold. They were like, yeah, we get it. We like the bikeway. Some people really didn't want to.
Yeah.
So my obligation as the executive for the park was to implement the vision of the board and take it as far as I could take it.
Your job. Basically,
that was my
it's
job.
your job
Yeah,
to
my
do what the
job was
board
to
wants
do
you
what
to
we
do.
wanted
This
to
isn't
do.
some personal vendetta
No.
against property
No.
owners or anything
No.
like that. Okay.
And the board that I serve, who has been very consistent, has been, look, we picked up the baton from the last group. This is where we were. This wasn't finished. Let's see this through if possible. What better way to see it through than legally and transparently?
Right.
And we took it as far as we could take it, and the courts did not side with us. So you saw us
Party's over.
say we're done.
Okay.
We ended up having to pay the fees of the people involved because that's what the rules of Ohio State
Yeah.
with regards to eminent domain. Keep in mind, you'll read a lot about eminent domain, and they'll use the word appropriation.
Uh-huh.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's the same thing. What's key for people to understand is that, yeah, I really have no interest in showing up and saying I'm taking your land, because there's no such thing as take. Anything the park gets, you had to pay market value for.
Right.
Mm.
And it was just those people did not want to give up
They didn't
their
want-
land for.
Yeah,
I'm
didn't want
not surprised at all that my neighbors out in Green Township
Yeah.
don't want the park to take their property, especially if they're farmers. Like if it's going to go right through
Sure.
the middle of their farm and
I
splits up
get
their
it.
farm.
I mean,
I totally get it. And I'm not surprised.
You know, the other
at all.
argument
that
to
would have
that,
been sweet though.
that I think we should
I would've
touch
loved
on
it. Yeah.
is all the people involved who were anti-independent trail kept saying, go down Washingtonville Road.
Oh, you can't.
Let's talk about that.
I
When
tried that, by the
you're
way.
a governmental
Yep.
entity.
Yep.
You accepted federal dollars to build a project.
Mm-hmm.
There are design standards that we now have to follow because of how we got the money. The road right of way on Washingtonville Road is not wide enough
Yeah.
to put a southbound and a northbound bike lane on both sides.
Mm.
The MetroParks would have had to utilize eminent domain for every front yard on
Wow.
both sides of Washingtonville Road.
Wow.
So I understand people's position on it because it's a very emotional position.
It is
Right.
like 40 feet though.
You know,
I mean, it is 40 feet from the bike path to Washingtonville Road. I mean, it's barely. So
well,
I
in
get
some
it.
instances it's close. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's off of the road and heading up towards Canfield.
Okay.
But yeah, so to say that you can just go down there the way it is,
Yeah.
would you want to take your kids on their
No.
bike when they're first learning how to ride a bike down
Yeah.
Washingtonville Road? You're out of your
Absolutely
mind.
not. No.
I rented a bike off of Pat one time down there when is he I think he's still at that spot. Yeah, he's still there. And I rented a that's Cruiser Creek.
Kirk Road Trailhead.
Yep. Yep. And I went down and I was like, oh, I'm going to keep going down Washingtonville Road because that's where it is, right?
Yeah.
And I started going down Washingtonville Road and I'm like, I'm going to die. And I turned right around because, dude, it is a close road
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there are cars
Well, those
hauling
bikers always do that. They always go
down
down
that road.
Well, what's ironic is when I joined, I had to educate myself on everything Mill Creek Park. What were we doing? I mean, and that project was one of them. So I asked the very same questions. Well, why aren't we going down Washingtonville Road? Why
Yeah.
aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Every question I posed to the MetroParks team, there was an answer for it.
Yeah, because I walk from my house to down New Middletown to Washingtonville. That would have been so sick. I could have just hopped.
Appropriation is not new. If you read Melnick's book on the MetroParks, they'll only put together half of Mill Creek using appropriation.
What did the people? Is there any type of research as to what the people said back then when they were taking all that land?
There may have been. I haven't done any of that.
Yeah, that'd be
Doesn't
interesting
really
to
have
know.
any effect on
What year
we've
was
done.
that?
Oh man, we've been around since 1891. So prior to that, he was putting everything together. Matter of fact, the golf course that we were talking about, and the high prices that we're charging, that property was acquired through the appropriation. or threat thereof. So again, from my standpoint, I'm not a fan of it. I just assume two people reach an agreement on an acquisition. And I'm proud to say most of everything that we've acquired through purchase, the people worked with us. They knew it was going to take a little bit longer because we have to go get some third-party funding. And when the people find out that we're buying their property, they love it.
Okay, I got one more. I just asked this I've been messing with ChatGPT. You ever mess with it?
No.
That's fantastic. Another topic, and I said make a sarcastic question for him based on the next topic.
Yeah.
Aaron, when it rains, how many gallons of sewage are you personally responsible for going into the creeks and rivers of North?
Some people would say all of it, 100%.
So what this goes back to is this one is not touchy for me, but this is an issue.
Oh yeah.
Sewage from Boardman and Youngstown, I believe, right? You could go into the park. I mean, go take it from there. What do you got?
Yeah, thankfully, and I'm happy to be a part of this team that's working on this. And when I say team, we didn't do much of anything. It was the city of Youngstown, their consultants, MS. They are in 2026. They will embark on the Mill Creek Interceptor Sewer project.
25 years later.
No. It's been almost 100 years.
100 years later.
Since Volney first said you shouldn't do that.
And so what did they do? They hooked in.
As you know, combined sewer overflows. So rainwater and your household sewage go into the same pipes.
Okay.
So what they're going to do is end up separating that and making sure just the rainwater goes into the lakes.
That sounds expensive.
And then the other stuff.
That sounds
going to be very
expensive. So right now, all the pipes get connected.
Oh yeah.
From the sewage to
that's what a
rainwater.
PSO is. I shouldn't comment on the details. Chuck at the city is well versed in all of the details.
But anyways, right now,
They're
overflow when it rains really, really heavy,
Sewage
and everything goes into the water.
Right. So that's why the water quality is
it bad?
Ideal.
Would you swim in it?
No, you can't swim in it.
Would you touch it?
The rules say you can't.
So
would I wade in to go fishing?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If we fix this, how long before I can swim in it?
You're never going to see public swimming.
Really? Why not?
They used to do it.
Well, what happened?
They used to in like the 30s and 40s.
Back in the day, I mean, it's a little bit different.
So why are we allowed to swim in the water?
Well, I mean,
even if we fix the
water
sewage
quality
poop issue.
Well, let's talk about fix. You still have everything that hits asphalt and water going into storm drains.
Yeah. Think of the stuff with Boardman and
Youngstown.
I'm sure
downtown where all the bars are and everybody coming out.
I'm sure it's
Mother Nature can only fix so much.
Can't we filter that?
It's great news for them to be doing that.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's fantastic.
It's going to be a 2-year project, hopefully less, but it's going to do what we've all wanted it to do. So
I mean, when you walk the park, right?
Oh yeah.
When it's dry for a while, and it's like, and the water's not moving, you can smell it. You can smell it in certain spots. You can and then there's always one of those big sewer things right around the corner. So that's fantastic news. That is great. I know Youngstown has been, and we gave him crap. Do you remember that? We gave him crap.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't fixing it. They were delaying.
Just
like
kicking the can down the road. Fix it.
Yeah.
Just fix it. Figure it out.
Wow. So that's good news. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to go swimming legally in the park. Let's see here. What else have we got? I think I had one more. How is your relationship? And we talked about like McNally. What about with like Boardman Township and Youngstown? Not yours. Let's say the park.
Yeah, the parks. I mean, we would separate the people from the problem or whatever the challenge may be. It just depends on what issue there is.
Okay.
You know, we've had issues with Boardman Township's claims that they've reached out, and we've had to dispel those.
Right. Okay.
We've had the same issue with other elected officials saying that they've had to reach out. I mean, thankfully, when the bike trail issue first came about, I did have a conversation with Senator Catrona. I believe it was prior to him being a senator, but one conversation. That's the only conversation I've ever had.
Hey, you guys got to pick up the phone.
My question is how can you put bills together without reaching out to educate yourself on what is going on? And then to take a bill that changes how not all the MetroParks, just one.
Yeah.
Mill Creek is run and hide it in a 1,700 page budget bill for the state of Ohio speaks to the level of commitment to transparency. I mean, if you want to talk about how MetroParks are run, Do it as a standalone bill. Do it as an open conversation of how do we get better what you're seeing from the public side. Don't try to hide it and appease a group because
which is all that comes down to, right?
Correct.
So is that going through right now, or what's the status on that?
It's with the Senate right now.
Okay.
So anybody that has a strong opinion on whether or not that should go through, you really should give Senator Catrona's office a call, voice your opinion, hopefully respectfully.
Yeah.
We want to be respectful of the position just because we have a different opinion.
Right.
And let them know that you want to keep politics out of your parks.
Yeah.
I've always asked, has politics served you well and everywhere else in the valley and our steep history?
Seriously.
Why would you want to introduce that to
I
what
agree
we got
with that.
going
You know
on?
what's refreshing is you, Aaron Young, being a part of, like, it's a public parks, part of the government, but being critical of politicians.
But he's not an elected official.
He's not elected, but he's still like a part of like a public park, which is part of the government, which is like, I love to see that.
Oh,
I love to see.
Look, I'm not here for conflict. Nobody wakes up every day and says, "Hey, I want to go."
Right.
That's what people think we do.
I mean, maybe your show does.
That's what everybody says we do.
But I do love that.
Metro Park side. We can't say the words transparency, and we can't grow as a community if we're not calling BS on the things that need BS called on.
I love that.
I'm not saying that government's perfect by any means.
No,
Right.
But let's not make false claims when people haven't educated themselves on where they are.
I don't like the fact that they're trying to pass a bill and they haven't talked to me. I would, as what we do, which is insane, even the stuff that we do, I always try and call both sides first.
Yeah.
Unless it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and I should be, let me put a disclaimer out there. When I say they haven't contacted me.
Yeah.
I do know that some of my park board members have talked to Senator Catrona, Representative McNally, Representative Fisher, but it was only after the issue was drafted and placed in the budget.
They never called.
They were never phone calls prior to educate themselves on where that is and how we move it forward. And again, when we started an hour and a half ago about there's a group that's nervous about me being here.
Yeah.
That group that's nervous, they're the ones that know that you haven't reached out, you haven't educated yourself.
Right.
Trying to label me as aggressive and unresponsive is really avoiding the fact that you didn't want to enter a debate on an issue that you
Right. We got some.
Carter says, have you pursued maybe buying the Idora Park property? Are you allowed to talk about that even if you were?
Yeah, we can talk about land acquisition.
You know where that
strategy.
is? That's right.
We're just not going to be able to talk about.
It's north, right?
It's by the mill, and you can walk to the north.
Yeah. Okay.
We have not had any in-depth conversations about acquisition of Idora.
That's like owned by a church or something like that right now. Right?
Yeah. When I first joined the park, there was some talk about it because they would be delinquent, whoever the owner was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say for certainty who owns it. I've heard that it's a church.
I think it's a church group. Yeah.
Our planning team leads a lot of that for us. And then we debate the merits of whether we're going to acquire a property. Those property taxes will then be brought up to being current and all of that.
Makes sense.
But people say Idora, they're not thinking Mill Creek Park. They're thinking amusement park.
Right. Yeah.
It's different.
My hesitation with that would be, I don't want people thinking by us acquiring it, we're going to put.
Did you get to build me a roller coaster, Aaron?
Dude, build a roller coaster.
Right.
That'd be so awesome.
Is that property certainly an opportunity for MetroPark or Mill Creek proper to expand? Absolutely.
Right.
Is it something that we're actively negotiating on? No.
Yeah. Okay. Old Airport Land is owned by Mount Carmel Baptist Church. Yep. Thanks.
Our dad says your father swam in that water below Cohasset Dam in the 60s. That's what caused your genetic defects.
that math
adds up. Adds up perfectly.
That's
Okay.
Good morning, Youngstown, Ohio, from Wahiawa, Hawaii.
I'm sure that's how you pronounce that.
Hawaii. He said, why?
Because Youngstown Studio is commenting with him.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's BJ in the back room.
Okay.
I don't know that we've ever had any donors from Hawaii, but I know you guys would be surprised to hear that the majority of our largest donors are not local.
Really?
Huh.
They have a local connection.
Okay.
They don't currently.
Can you so we can
here.
donate to the park?
Anyone can donate.
Owner of the 49ers?
You want to talk about disclosures?
The donation
We
disclosures.
don't disclose donors.
Guy who owns a
information.
That's probably a good guess. Just saying.
I can just tell you. I
Probably
can
a
just
good
tell you
guess.
that the majority of it is.
see who else I
is
could
not
guess.
local.
So you got Dior, right? The Dior. You got the Yorks, and you got the. Who's that?
What about any Volney Rogers people?
Why can't I remember?
What?
Dior. The Dior.
The fine arts.
Yorks and the who owns the 49ers?
That's
DeParklo. That's what that's the two names. I'm betting donate a poop ton of money to the park.
maybe you're totally wrong.
I guarantee I'm not.
We have very good supporters. We have very good supporters of the park.
Maybe
But
Joe
most of them,
Guarantee I'm
again,
not. It's Joe Dan.
Yeah.
Do you donate to the park,
Yeah.
Joe?
Start
No.
donating to the park, cheap.
God,
cheapo.
what?
Well, they understand the
Sure.
value. They've been here, they've lived here, they've left. You'll see people come back, they visit, whether it's Christmas, Easter, and they'll just comment about, man, this is amazing. We don't have this where I live.
Right.
And then there'll be a donation.
That is what people don't realize. You've lived in Youngstown
Sure.
for so long. You've become so accustomed to the park. But like, what's the stat with it's one of the only parks that are in.
It's like the second largest
Yeah.
metro park.
Yeah, that's an old stat.
Okay.
And, there's been a lot of development in urban areas in Dallas, Houston, and other
big parks.
places. I don't quite know if we're
Okay.
still the
But we're
second
very
one.
blessed to have it.
Correct.
But I
Yeah.
know we're all so used to having it because we've always it's just always been here. But it's awesome. It's so awesome.
Question: can you guys ask Aaron what the schedule is for the control hunt and letting hunters in to thin out the herd? I think you do the lotto in like June or July. I think, right? Is that when they draw tickets?
Well, again, we don't. ODNR does.
Yeah, you got to go to the ODNR
Yeah.
website and then
The lotto's in June, but the hunting doesn't take place until hunting season.
hunting season, right?
Which is in fall.
But you can get whoever's asking that. You can go to the ODNR website
yeah.
and you can do it. I think he's asking on behalf. BJ, is that you asking that question?
Get out here, BJ.
Do you want to go hunting, BJ? So BJ said he has are you by the park?
I'm right by the creek.
You were up at what?
You know where the creek is?
Yeah.
I'm like right up the road.
Do you have a lot of deer there?
BJ has a ton of deer, and he's a bad week away from Ramboing the deer.
But BJ, there's no deer in the park.
How dare you? Those deer have names.
They have a
BJ.
family.
They are part of the people's families.
The
Yeah,
ironic
so-
part of that argument is that there's been no management activity north of Shields.
North of
No,
Shields.
north of Shields in Mill Creek proper.
That's where you live, BJ. That's where BJ lives.
There's been no management activity
Really?
north of Shields
because it's
And
on the
where-
golf courses where they did the call.
Correct. And where does the STD group originate?
There.
North of the deer.
We've
North.
never even been up there.
Oh my god, you guys are so dumb. I'm gonna say that right to your faces. I still can't. I just want you. If any of you are listening, I can't stand any of you.
Nothing north of Shields.
Somebody had said something. Again, we're just jumping around. There was an updated aerial,
Yeah, we did a
and they were like 100.
Drone
It was way
aerial.
down.
It was down. Yeah, it was way down. But keep in mind, and I don't have the numbers committed to memory. It's on
Yeah,
the
it was like
website.
it was.
An example would be, say there was 100 deer per square mile. 50 of those deer are doe, right?
They're gonna have
That
babies.
50 is going to be 150 in 90 days.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
Yeah.
100 is really 250.
yeah.
I
That
would.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
and I feel like the average person doesn't know that. Or
Oh, they don't
realize
understand
that.
it, dude.
Well,
They
some
have-
of them do, and they just don't care. That's the hardest part, is when you don't want to value the education component.
How
of
about
it.
this, Isaac? How about this? How about this number? This is rough numbers, but this is accurate. The Ohio herd, okay, is like 250,000 by the time you get to fall. Okay, the hunters will take out 89,000. They redo it,
And it's
and it goes back to it goes back to normal by the fall again. That's the reproduction cycle. If you had these freaking hippies that don't want to let hunting happen, think of that number.
It's just gonna pop.
Think of that. It is like
multiply
through the roof chart.
Yeah.
Like you would have like starvation. Like that is a known fact. So you just take Mill Creek Park alone, that little segment, and if you don't hunt and you don't have natural predators, dude, overrun.
Right.
I mean, it's just
You could have argued the last time Mill Creek Metro Parks undertook any type of deer management strategy was back in the late 90s. I think 97, 98.
it's not the first time they've done it, right? Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's not the first time they've attempted it, but they gave in to public pressure and stopped. So
Right.
the Metro Parks could have argued a simple math problem from
Yeah.
1998's population numbers
What was it
of
then
why
now?
you need to do what you
Yeah.
did. We chose to go get additional surveys. We
Yeah.
chose to do natural surveys. We chose to do as much as we could to help convey the message to the people.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if you go back and look at Metro Parks history, it's no different with the eminent domain. It's been used
It's
from
used.
the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just
And read the book. Volney and those guys fought takeover of the park all the way back in the early 1900s.
So interesting.
Wow.
How do you feel about bigger picture question here? Out west, they're reintroducing wolves to towns.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
I
that? Because
saw
it's kind of the
I-
opposite, where
Yeah.
it's the uneducated are pressuring so hard, like, hey, just release these wolves, and then the farmers are like that
Dude.
are in those surrounding areas. They're like,
Dude.
they're attacking my cattle.
Yeah.
Like what? How do you feel about that? That
I'm
argument.
thankful that we don't have to have that argument here.
How about have you
That's what I
considered
think about it?
have you considered releasing mountain lions into the park?
No.
or just
No.
wolves. Like I'm just
Mountain lion.
walking my wiener dog on the bike path. Just my wiener dog gets murked by a wolf.
I mean,
Or I get murked.
that would solve the problems.
Right.
That would solve the problem.
I mean, you release a couple cougars into the park.
Deer population goes down, and
We're
then all of a
actually
sudden,
thankful that we don't have some of the challenges that they have out west
Okay.
in managing parks. I mean, you've got that introduction, you've got the benefits of now you can property corner jump where before you couldn't. You know, where a property corner is these multiple parcels in a check pattern.
You're allowed to. Okay.
You're allowed to cross now where before you weren't.
Hmm.
We don't really have those kind of issues here, so we have to count ourselves lucky in some regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're almost done here. We're at an hour and a half. Thanks for we're going long here.
Sure.
I know Mill Creek Park purchased the old sod farm on Western Reserve by the Turnpike Bridge. That's called. Which one is that? That's
What are you reading?
right there. I
highlighted
know
one.
it's
Okay.
it's the one across from.
Oh yeah.
What's that one called?
Yeah, well, that's the preserve.
Preserve. Okay. Purchased the old
Collier
sod
Preserve.
farm. Yeah, Collier. There's an old water park right across the street. Is there any talk of taking that over, potentially turning into a swimming place for that? What?
No,
Where?
I
There's
think
no.
they're
Where's our
talking
water
about
park
the
at?
Lake, and there's a
is that
entertainment venue down there.
yeah, the two venues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a private entity.
Yeah, those are.
I don't think
yeah.
that was a water park. They used to fly their planes and water ski on that
Old
lake. but
sod
I
farm.
don't think it
by
was a water
Western
park.
Reserve by the Turnpike Bridge. Yeah, I don't know
Now,
where there was a
the-
water park at.
MetroParks Sanctuary is actually south of that property. We own that.
This are
There's
you?
an old fish farm?
That's in North Lima.
Is it?
It's by the
old-
airport, kind of by the airport,
Huh.
over there on the end
South
of
of
the
that
airport.
property. So the property that this individual is speaking of is in between the two that we own.
Right.
Maybe he's talking about up by where Wildwood is. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that's off of
146?
165.
165.
That's
Yeah, no.
not owned by the park. That's Beaver.
Oh, that's
Township.
not. That's Beaver.
Township's park.
I don't want
All right.
Aaron's grubby hands all over Beaver Creek.
He's probably
He's been
eyeing that one up
I'm
too.
just waiting.
I want that Beaver Township park.
Hey,
too.
wait a minute. I thought we were bros. You guys could do the mortgage and everything.
Exactly.
I thought we were-
You were
I
doing
thought
a
we
real
were
estate
pals.
for the
Right,
park.
right.
You need a real estate agent for the park.
I
can be looking us up.
you.
Man, yeah,
Represent you.
yeah, dude.
I'll
Seriously.
tell you what, the government organization, I'm charging an extra few percentage points on my commission.
Oh, that is so funny. All right. Well, anything else you want to say, Aaron, before you go here, man? We let you see your piece.
No,
People at Mill Creek
appreciate
Park
it.
before you talk
Mhm.
that were telling him not to come on. I think this has been a good conversation.
Right? It hasn't been all bad.
I mean, you've
I
talked
think
about it.
it's
He got
pretty
he
good.
feels better about things now. He got some stuff off his chest.
We want to be transparent. I think the key thing that we would like people to leave with, excuse me, whether you're elected or not,
Yeah.
reach out.
Reach out.
Pick up the phone.
How do they reach
Give
you,
us a
Aaron?
call.
How do they reach you?
You can reach me at 330-702-3000.
Oh,
I'm at
okay.
extension 113,
Okay.
or you can email us.
Will you
at
call people back?
A Young? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
At millcreekmetroparks.org. So
There you go.
This will
you can
be
reach out and have the conversation if there's something you want to talk about.
this will be recorded. It'll be on our show, our page. It'll be on Youngstown Studios page, in all of our groups. You can phone number, emails right there. Reach out if you're having issues. He wants transparency. We love to see that.
Yeah. I urge Catrona, McNally, Fabio, who I'm going to text as soon as we get out of here and yell at him for not reaching out to you, and tell them to reach out to you.
Yeah,
Sit down.
I think the message I would want anybody watching or listening to leave is we're not looking for controversy.
Right.
We don't want to have an adversarial relationship with anyone. We don't
Right.
wake up in the morning wanting to do that. What I want them to know is if they speak falsely about the park, we're going to correct it.
There you go.
We're going to
I
comment.
like it. Good for you. Good for you. All right. Well, Aaron, thanks again. Thanks. My son wanted to say thank you for getting that birthday present. You got him.
Oh yeah, I
Dude.
guess what we get him right.
Dude, it's a golf cart.
I swear
You got Ben a golf cart.
I'm gonna go auction, see if I can get one of those golf carts.
Hey, I learned that mistake a long time ago. I think we went to a niece or a nephew's
Yeah.
birthday party, and they opened up a gift, and I was like, "Dude, that is cool. Who got you that?" And they're like, "You did."
Oh yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, wife, we got to talk."
Christmas.
I have to do a better job of asking questions of what we got people before we go.
3 boys under 14.
Right.
Christmas morning
Right.
is amazing for me
Right.
too. I have no clue.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
wow.
It's a surprise for everyone.
Exactly. All right. I'd say give our ad.
Thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, go down below. We have 12 likes right now, but we had close to 40 people watching live the entire time. Go give us a like, a follow, follow the MLO Bros, follow Youngstown Studio. Does Mill Creek Park have a Facebook page?
They do. Oh God, yeah.
Go follow Mill Creek Park's Facebook page, all of their stuff.
Yep.
Go check them out. Thank you so much for watching Youngstown Talk Channel, for calling in. Luke and I, MLO Bros stands for Mortgage Loan Originator Brothers. We are loan officers. We're also real estate agents now. If you're buying, if you need financing, if you're selling.
What was the word you used?
Appropriating.
Appropriating property.
If you are appropriating property through the process of eminent domain.
Maybe you need a realtor.
I don't know if I can do a loan on that, but I'll try. I will try.
Appropriating eminent domain.
Through eminent domain. I'll try. So call us. We'll help you out if we can. Call Youngstown Studio if you want to start your own podcast and talk about how dumb the MLO Bros are, how dumb the park is. You can do that. You can do that. Joe will help you set up a podcast.
Hey, save the deer people. Joe, you know it.
Dude.
Save the deer people. Call Joe. Have
STD podcast. Live.
STD now.
They'll get so much attention from people they don't even realize
They would blow it out of the park. I mean, they'd have the biggest numbers you'd have if you had those two of those people.
Joe,
There you go, guys. There's your chance.
Start your own podcast down here live in Youngstown Studio. You can take the 10:30 to
I'll
noon
coach them. I'll coach them. Whatever we need to do, I will set up that platform.
Let's
for
do it.
because that would be the best stuff we could ever have.
But
Okay.
thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. We will see you Tuesday. We'll be back
Okay.
in the studio.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Oh, that was funny. Sorry, Aaron. We're all over the place, man.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook.